Thanks for downloading a 3CR podcast. 3CR is an independent community radio station based in Melbourne, Australia. We need your financial support to keep going. Go to www.3cr.org.au for more information and to donate online. Now stay tuned for your 3CR podcast.
Welcome to Lost in Science. It is our first episode for 2017, and boy, are we excited. Are we excited?
Woo!
Yes.
Woo! 2017! Bring
yeah,
it on.
well, yeah, indeed. And I hope you've all had a good summer break. Have you all had a good...
I slept a lot.
You slept a lot?
I went nowhere, did minimal, and slept a lot.
Claire?
I've had a great time listening to all the Labora stories on our summer series.
Yeah, you did.
Thank you very much,
Yeah.
Labora Story.
Yeah.
Well, I had a great time editing all those Labora stories over the summer, but I hope people enjoyed them.
An excellent job you did there too, Stu.
Thank you very much.
Yes. Well, I had a good summer break as well. And look, like many people, of course, it is still summer, and people are still going to be going on holidays. So it's important to think about if you're travelling around Australia, what venomous animals you should watch out for. So
All of them.
Yeah. Well, okay. That's
fair enough.
That's my story done, basically.
Okay. Yeah. Good. Okay. Moving on.
No, I'll be looking at recent research to find out which are the most dangerous, or the venomous animals that have hurt the most people in Australia. And it's not who you think necessarily, unless you've heard the story already, because it's got a bit of airplay. But anyway, we're going to be doing that as well. Stu, what do you got for us?
Well, I'm sure everyone's figured out that we now live in a world of alternative facts. And I'm going to be looking at alternative facts. Well, not directly, but I'm going to actually be talking about conspiracy theories, which is, I guess, a way of thinking about facts in an alternative fashion, and explaining that, in fact, there's probably not really any surefire way to keep a conspiracy secret because they all involve human beings. So I'm actually going to be looking at a paper that was published last year about conspiracy theories and how they rapidly fall apart.
What about that conspiracy theory with the lizard men that live under the mountain?
Oh, look, it's all in there. It's all in there.
Great. I can't wait.
Yeah, there's this finding about what takes for a conspiracy to fall apart. Does that apply to lizard men?
Yeah.
How good are they? Different at keeping a conspiracy?
It may be more difficult to read their faces, so you can't tell if they're lying.
There we go.
Yeah.
Watch out for the lizard man. And speaking of alternative facts and conspiracies, Manisha, is this whole New Year's resolution thing, is that a conspiracy or what?
Oh, look, I don't know. For me, it seems to be a bit of a conspiracy. I can never manage to actually stick with a New Year's resolution. So I thought I would actually talk to our listeners that might be in the same boat and just discuss some tips and strategies to actually keeping a New Year's resolution. So how to best make and break habits.
Excellent. Well, that is a habit that I'm sure you all pick up. That is listening to Manisha talk about habits. I don't know, make that sense. Play that back again a few times. It will make sense. This is Lost in Science of 2017. As professional as always, on with the show. Yes, we are in Australia, and Australia is famous for its deadly creatures. But which, do you suppose, is the deadliest?
Spider, snake, koala bear.
Oh, that's a good question.
Drop bears.
Drop
Poop
bears.
snakes.
Of the venomous animals?
Well, we're concentrating on the venomous animals here.
Okay,
Yeah,
not
yeah.
like, your crocs and your sharks and stuff.
I'll mention those, but yeah, we're mostly talking about the venomous animals.
Oh,
yeah.
I thought it was the taipan.
The taipan. Interesting.
taipan?
The inland taipan. Well, Claire, that is actually a good guess, because I believe that is supposedly the most venomous snake in the world, like has the deadliest venom.
And
so
Australia
that's a
has
good guess.
something like 8 of the top 10 most venomous snakes or something.
It
Is that
does, something
correct?
like that.
Yeah.
Something
Yeah,
ridiculous.
and someone just died via taipan.
Did they
Coastal
recently?
taipan bite
Okay.
in Queensland.
I was not aware of that.
An elderly gentleman.
But of course, yeah, you're right. We have deadly snakes. We also have some
Spiders?
famously poisonous spiders. We also have trees and things like the
Oh,
gimpy
true.
tree, which people keep talking about. Apparently, some stinging tree. But
And also blue bottles and jellyfish.
all that kind of stuff. Yeah. So look, it makes no sense. I mean, this is one of the things that tourists are always complaining about. And they're scared when they come to Australia because well, the dying. They complain about that. But we need to find out. We are about the facts here, the actual facts here at Lost in Science. So we're going to turn to some recent research. This is done by the Australian Venom Research Unit at the University of Melbourne. So they gathered hospital and mortality data from 2000 to 2013. So this is kind of recent history, but not that recent. Well, I mean, as recent as they could do at the time. And they recently published their results in the Internal Medicine Journal of the Royal Australian College of Physicians. And I guess we should maybe do, I don't know if we should do a drum roll of that, but the most deaths and the most hospitalizations were caused by bees and wasps.
Ooh.
I was not expecting that.
That's a good one, actually.
Now, is that due to the actual sting, or is that an allergic reaction?
Yeah, is that the toxicity?
Yeah, it's it is an allergic reaction, and that's quite correct. So, okay, I'll instead of just giving you the one thing, I'll give you some of the stats here. So overall, there were about 42,000 hospitalizations over the period that they studied, and 64 people killed by some sort of sting or bite in this study period. Over a third, that is 12,351 hospitalizations, were due to bee or wasp stings, and there were 27 deaths due to them. There were 25 bee deaths and 2 wasp deaths due to anaphylactic shock. There were also some anaphylactic deaths by ticks and ants, and I think some other unspecified critters, but also cause an allergic reaction. So
is that a bit unfair, putting all that data together when it's a anaphylactic reaction, like something completely out of the ordinary that wouldn't happen?
Well, yeah, no, it still is a toxin being injected that people are reacting to, I guess. They're recording what people have been stung by or bitten by and trying to work out, what has actually caused it.
So, put peanuts in there as well.
Well, they don't bite you, I guess.
Peanuts don't generally jump up and bite you.
Yeah.
Not often.
So look, that is a big thing, and it is kind of surprising. But the other suspects did feature in there. So, like I said, the bees and wasps were about 12,151 hospitalizations. Coming in just behind them were spiders, though, with 11,994 people hospitalized due to a spider bite, which is actually a lot, but there were 0 deaths from spiders in the study period. Apparently, someone did die from a redback spider bite in 2016, which was the first spider bite death in over 30 years, but that was outside their study period. But yeah, there was 0 deaths from spiders in the study period. Snakes, on the other hand, they caused as many deaths as the bees and wasps, but fewer hospitalizations. So the 27 people died of snake bite in that period, but only about 6,000 hospitalizations, which made snakes kind of proportionally the deadliest, as in you're the most likely to die from the snake compared to anything else.
Or is that they're less likely to receive hospital care in time?
Well, it could be that as well. But surprisingly though, a lot of the bites were recorded in the home or in urban or rural or regional areas, not in remote locations as you'd probably expect. Although it is possible the researchers have conceded that maybe some deaths weren't reported or some bites weren't reported in the thing. There were 3 deaths due to marine animals, and then they were all box jellyfish. So yeah, the box jellyfish did get a look in. But yeah, look, really the big surprise is the anaphylactic deaths. So I guess, they're trying to say why, they're trying to figure out why this is the case, why are so many people not prepared, say, for such a thing. And it could be that, you get, the first time you get bitten, or you get stung, then it causes the reaction that gives you the allergic reaction. The next time it comes around to get you worse, and you may not have an EpiPen available because you didn't know you were allergic, and that sort of thing. So yeah, that is an interesting thing. I should actually mention, I guess, some other animals. Like you did bring up the crocodiles and sharks and those sort of things.
Oh yeah, everyone loves talking about them.
I wasn't counting them because they're not technically venomous or
no,
or anything like that. However, in the study period, I think they had 26 people died from shark attack. So they were fewer people than bees. Well, no, fewer people than bees and wasps, fewer people than snakes. 19 from crocodiles. So crocodiles are up there. But you know what the most was? The deadliest animal in Australia?
People.
Apart from people?
Mosquito?
No, the horse.
Yeah, there you go.
74 people died from being thrown or trampled by a horse.
74?
Yeah.
I've never
Holy.
trusted horses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dogs were much less dangerous. Only 23 people from altercations with dogs. I guess what we're saying is, like, if you are allergic, obviously carry around your EpiPen. I shouldn't need to tell you that. But just be careful, I guess, of those bee and wasp stings above everything else. Watch out for snakes as well, because snakes are pretty dangerous. But generally, just be careful. They said that men aged 30 to 35 were the most likely to be bitten or stung, perhaps because they are the most risk-taking. But yeah, play it safe this summer and watch out for the deadlies that are out there.
So apparently this year we live in a post-truth world, so I've heard.
Yeah, it's being bandied around a lot. Do you think that's just normalising it?
I think it makes our job a lot easier. I just want to say that.
Well, yeah, we don't have to check anything.
What does that even mean, a post-truth world?
Well, it means truth doesn't matter anymore. But you know, earlier this year we've heard that...
it's a Trump thing, is what he's saying.
You know, alternative facts are as valid as what could be called verifiable facts, or as we like to call them here at Lost in Science, facts. There are facts, and there are things that are not facts, which are not facts, and there's no such thing as alternative facts. But look, the philosophical nature of truth has been discussed by philosophers since ancient times, and scientific inquiry is based on the idea of objective truth being a thing that you can verify in various ways. But, of course, if a group of people deliberately set out to mislead their peers or the general public by providing false evidence to support a known or unknown agenda, the truth can be distorted. And this is what we could call a conspiracy.
But the truth is still out there, is that what you're saying?
The truth is out there.
Oh, yes.
That's correct. So historically, obviously, there have been conspiracies, and they've been successful for a limited time, the ones we know about.
Such as?
Well, okay, so well-known, relatively recent case of Edward Snowden blowing the whistle on illegal spying activities by the NSA. That was successful for a period of time until somebody said, hey, you guys are doing the wrong thing and you should stop it. Or, you know, an earlier example also from the States, the Watergate scandal. Was a conspiracy to basically steal information and pervert the course of an election effectively. So there's a couple of examples of conspiracies that were secret and then somebody blew it by letting everybody know what was going on. In one case, that was a whistleblower, and the other, in the Watergate scandal, that was actually investigators, although they did have an inside source on the information as well. So these examples do show that conspiracies can occur on a more or less large scale, but the secrecy that they depend on is pretty shaky when anyone involved actually starts to question the ethics of what's going on. So I actually found a paper, and I've been meaning to talk about it for a while, but it was published last year in 2016, in January, in the journal PLOS ONE, which is online, so you can look it up if you want to have a look for it. And it addressed the viability of conspiracy theories by basically applying a mathematical formula to assess the likelihood of their long-term success. So David Robert Grimes, who's a physicist at Oxford University, constructed a model to test the viability of claimed conspiracies. And he based his model on conspiracies that had been found out in the past and how long they lasted and how many people were involved. So he included estimates for how well people kept secrets. So, you know, whether they were very good at keeping secrets or not very good at keeping secrets. He put a figure on that. And he actually erred on the side of that they were really, really good at keeping secrets. So they were above average at keeping secrets, everyone involved.
So hang on, wait. This is a physicist,
yep.
You're saying. So basically just doing a mathematical model. He's not looking at the psychology, he's not reading minds, that kind of stuff. He's
just going by some figures that he's plugged into a theory, to a model, I should say. So he also looked at the number of conspirators involved, and he looked at conservative numbers just to try and not overestimate the accuracy of his model. So he looked at the conspiracies in his study, including that the moon landing was a hoax. That was one of the conspiracies that he looked at. That anthropogenic climate change is a hoax. The third one that he looked at was that vaccination causes more injury than it saves and has other purposes than preventing disease. That's conspiracy theory.
Well, these are These are theories that he's applying his model to, or these are
Yes.
ones that have been shown
No.
to be
This
true?
is ones that he's applying his model to.
Okay, right.
Yeah.
Because I got to say, because I didn't think that these are not real
No.
conspiracies.
These are conspiracy
Okay,
theories
cool.
that he's plugged the numbers into
Right,
his model,
okay.
as in how many people would have to be involved in this for it to be a successful
Okay, yeah.
conspiracy.
So if this was an actual conspiracy,
Yep.
if scientists were making up evidence about climate change or vaccines or moon landings, then what would be the likelihood of it being exposed? Is that
How
what
long
you're
would
saying?
it last
Yeah, how long would
as
it
a
last?
conspiracy?
How long
Yeah.
could you keep it secret for?
And the fourth one that he applied his model to was that a cure for cancer is being suppressed by various groups who profit from cancer. So all of these supposed conspiracies require hundreds or thousands of people to keep the supposed truth a secret. And according to Grimes' tests, according to his model, they would all fail within a relatively short period. So the moon landing hoax, according to his model, would have failed in less than 5 years. So by 1974, there would have been definitive evidence that there was a hoax that they landed on the moon. Obviously, we know they landed on the moon.
They were still sending people to the fake moon by 1974.
Yeah, exactly. Just ask Buzz Aldrin. But last time someone challenged Buzz with the fact that he thought he didn't land on the moon, he knocked him on the ground.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Sorry.
Did you say popped him one?
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Apparently, I'm an 80s
So,
kid.
due to the scale of the preparations for a hoax of pretending to land someone on the moon, it would have been obvious within less than 5 years, around 3.5 years. Now, his model took into account various factors in other conspiracy theories. So a conspiracy involving vaccines might take up to 40 years to be revealed.
Okay.
But when all medical research bodies are included in the modelling, only 3.5 years or thereabouts. So basically, if only the individual researchers were involved, it might take longer for that as a hoax to be
So
revealed.
the smaller the number of people, the better you can keep the secret, basically.
That's effectively what he found. So a climate change hoax, if it was only individual researchers, would take up to 30 years. But again, if it was all the relevant scientific research bodies, it'd be less than 5 years. And a cancer cure suppression conspiracy would take also less than 5 years. Basically, the one where that falls apart is everyone gets cancer, and why would you suppress a cure if someone you knew had
And there
cancer?
are a lot of scientists working on cancer.
Of all different kinds of cancer too.
Yeah.
The idea that there's a single cure for cancer is
Yeah.
misunderstanding what cancer is in the first place.
What were the variables that went into making this model?
Well, mostly how many people are involved and how good they are, how good people are at keeping secrets, which, let me tell you, is not very good. People are terrible at keeping secrets because they're egotistical and
We're social
and
creatures
like
that
to, yeah,
discuss.
exactly. We like to show off what we know to a great extent. So Grimes went further in his model and proposed maximum limits on the number of people involved for a conspiracy to last various amounts of time. He said if it's going to last 5 years, you could get away with 2,500 people, a little bit more than 2,500 people. But to last 20 years, you couldn't have any more than 628 people involved in the conspiracy. And they would all have to be really, really good at keeping secrets for it to last. So, look, I guess the conspiracy theories aren't going to go away anytime soon. There's so many of them, and they seem to multiply at an exponential rate. But I think it comes back to the idea that if you're going to claim a conspiracy, you have to have good evidence that there's a conspiracy and not just present a whole bunch of facts that you don't understand as evidence of something that people are getting together and conspiring to make things happen.
Or so you claim.
Across Australia on the Community Radio Network, you're listening to Lost in Science.
So, you know what they say. The best laid plans of mice and men, they often go awry. And that's how I feel about resolutions. I have the best intentions of keeping these resolutions. I'm pumped, I get excited about them, and I'm ready to actually knock something over. I'm ready to make a change, but then I just don't do it. Something happens and I get distracted, or I lose motivation, or whatever other excuse I can make up at the time, and I'm just back at ground zero. I've made absolutely no progress. So I started reading up on this because, as you do when you're procrastinating from all the other things you're meant to be doing, you find ways to fill up your time. So I started reading up on how to best make or break habits. So I actually compiled a list of 5 points for our listeners. And this week I'm going to look at tip number 1, which is setting smaller goals.
So you're resolving to do something and you're failing to do it. So you're trying to get around that by making it a habit. Is that what you're saying? Or changing a habit?
Maybe not for all resolutions, but I assume that a lot of resolutions that people make have to do with some sort of a behavior change.
Okay.
And to make a behavior change, it starts from a habit could be a habit is a behavior. So if you're making or breaking habits, you're effectively changing behavior. So that could either work for or against your New Year's resolution, depending on what the resolution would be.
Right, okay.
I have a few examples throughout the story, so hopefully that will resonate with some of our listeners. Anyways, the first tip I have for this week is to set smaller goals. The tip isn't intended to make you think smaller. You're still supposed to dream big, but the idea is that with your big picture, break up the workload into smaller, more manageable tasks and goals. So if your goal is to save for a house, don't imagine the whole, I don't know, 300 grand or 400 grand that you need.
Oh, God.
I don't even know how much houses go for. That's how out of my frame of reference.
Depends where you want to live. Anywhere good more than that.
Yeah, okay, so maybe 600,000.
Yeah, but you need a deposit, so, the deposit is only, what 10%?
20.
20%?
Yeah.
So we're going with what, 30 grand, 20 grand that you need to put a down payment on a house?
Let's say more like $200,000.
I don't mean to stress out our listeners if this isn't something you want to think about.
Claire, just tune out.
Claire's starting to sweat here, so she's just...
Quick, Manisha, tell me how to do it.
Okay, so don't think about the whole amount of money all at once.
Okay.
Instead, set smaller goals. So the
$5?
don't think about don't look down that tunnel sort of thing. It's just you set yourself a smaller goal. You want to say save $500 a month, or say from every paycheck you want to put away 5% or something like that. Something that's achievable, something you know that you can manage.
Can you think about it in units of smashed avocado on toast? And that would really help.
Yeah, okay. So by making small, more manageable goals, we're creating intrinsic motivators. So by putting money away in smaller chunks, you're sticking with a manageable behavior over a longer period of time. And each time you complete your smaller goal, you get a little shot of dopamine and a bit of a good feeling, and that helps build intrinsic motivation to continue the behavior.
Also, you actually have to do the thing and consciously do it?
Yeah.
Okay.
So instead of thinking I need 300 grand, what you're going to say is I'm going to put away $500 every month or something. And then every time you do that, you feel a bit of an accomplishment. You feel good inside, and that motivates you. That it's building that positive reinforcement. It's building an intrinsic motivator to do it next time. So then next month or next paycheck, you're also going to do it. And then again, you're going to get that shot of dopamine. You're going to feel good. And then that's going to keep reinforcing that behavior until at the end of the day, you do have your 300 grand and you can get your house. Or, yes, maybe it's a bad example because
50 years later.
Eventually.
So your conscious behavior is making subconscious reinforcement of your behavior.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you feel good naturally.
Yeah, exactly. So you're trying to mooch off of these natural feelings we already feel.
Love that idea.
So these types of rewards along the way can help us stay on task while we work towards tackling our bigger challenges and achieving our big dreams. The theory underlying this tip is the self-determination theory. The theory first became popular in psychological studies back in the 1970s, but it really took off in the 80s. And it looks at the motivation behind the choices we make. In studies that use self-determination theory, they are largely evaluating and comparing the strength of intrinsic motivators to extrinsic motivators. So is it something we feel good about it or the behavior makes us feel good just cause, so just performing the act makes us feel good, or do we get an extrinsic motivator? So an extrinsic motivator could be like a paycheck, or could be some sort of a reward.
So hang on, is an intrinsic a thing you do and an extrinsic is something someone else gives you? Or?
Yeah, so intrinsic you can think of as some, like, in this case, it's just something that makes you feel good. So if you were to do something and you ended up with a positive feeling, or you felt satisfied, you felt accomplished, you felt a high level of achievement, that those sort of motivators, the motivation to achieve that feeling again is actually quite stronger than the motivation of something external, like receiving a bonus, like a Christmas bonus or a reward or anything like that.
Okay.
So the idea is that the intrinsic motivators are much, much more stronger at dictating our behavior, and those behaviors that have strong intrinsic motivators are behaviors that we're more likely to adopt and to keep. So by setting smaller goals, you're actually training yourself to make a new habit permanent by increasing the levels and the frequency of those intrinsic satisfactions when you meet your goal. And it's that sort of positive reinforcement that helps us modify and create new behaviors. So it's not about looking forward and seeing how much you have left to do, but rather really appreciating each small step along the way and really taking in the benefits as you keep the motivation to continue. So that's this week's tip. I'm actually going to give a tip every week for the next few weeks. So hopefully we can all keep on to our New Year's resolutions.
Or don't start your New Year's resolutions in front of the 5 weeks until you've heard all the tips.
How about if you have all of your resolutions and they're all starting to crumble like mine, and now you need tips to get remotivated into being good again?
Stay tuned for that.
Yeah.
All right, that is it for another episode of Lost in Science. We have learned a bit about venomous animals or poisonous animals. There has been some debate in the studio over the meaning of poisonous and venomous. And let's just agree to disagree on that one. But
I think we actually agreed that I was right on that.
No, I didn't. I think you did, Claire. Welcome back, Claire. So there was that. There was also the whole conspiracy. Is the whole definition of words a conspiracy? But if it was, how many people would have to be involved in all the dictionaries and all the science laboratories?
Look, it would fail in about 10 minutes.
It would fail in about 10 minutes, as might our New Year's resolution.
I hope not.
But we're getting some good techniques
tips
from
are
Manisha.
getting you through, yeah.
If you want to form a habit for your New Year's resolution. I wouldn't advise all of them being approached that way. Like, for instance, if your New Year's resolution is to quit your job, maybe don't make a habit of that.
Or approach it in small steps. Just fail all your tasks until you get fired.
Yeah. Different approaches to different situations, people, is what we're saying
be a
here.
bit critical when you're thinking about these tips.
That's right. Now, Lost in Science, it is recorded at the studios of 3CR in Melbourne. It airs across Australia at the Community Radio Network, the support of the Community Broadcasting Foundation. We'd like for you to get in touch with us. Good resolution for the new year. Contact us. You can email us at lostinsci@gmail.com. You can find us on Facebook. We're Lost in Science on 3CR. You can find us on Twitter, or you can listen to us on our podcast, which is on all the podcast apps and on the 3CR website. Or you can listen to us on the radio live next week when once again Manisha, Claire, Stu and Chris will get
Lost in Science!
Thanks for listening to a 3CR podcast. 3CR is an independent community radio station based in Melbourne, Australia. We need your financial support to keep going. Go to www.3cr.org.au for more information and to donate online.